My mother's 90 years old, and I was very concerned about her being sheltered at home and not really having a big social life and getting out there and meeting people or even having any kind of interaction. So I got her on the MetaQuest headset, which is a metaverse virtual reality. There is this alcove sanctuary on the MetaQuest metaverse headsets for senior citizens. And she's met a few people on that site that are her age that are doing these type of things. So I think being able to find the right platform.
Welcome to How I AI, the podcast featuring real people, real stories, and real AI in action. I'm Brooke Raymer, your host and guide on this journey into the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. For over 15 years, I've worked in creative marketing, events, and business strategy, wearing all the hats. I know the struggle of trying to scale and manage all things without burning out. But here's the game changer, AI. This isn't just a podcast. How I AI is a community, a space where curious minds like you come together, share ideas, because AI isn't just a trend, it's a shift. And the sooner we embrace it, the more freedom, creativity, and opportunities we'll unlock. Technology is moving fast, and a lot of people, especially those that are 50 years or older, are being left behind to figure it out alone. My guest today is Sandra Abrams. She's a lifelong learner turned Web3 guide who's helping women 50 years or older make sense of AI, blockchain, and health tech with her work at Onboard 60. In this episode, we get into what's changing right now with money, safety, and digital life. We talk about practical ways seniors can stay current, stay protected, and stay connected to their families and communities. Because with AI and health tech advancements, seniors are living longer, healthier, and more independently lives than the old narratives assume. This episode is for you if you're over 50, if you have loved ones you worried about, or if you work with clients who need a calmer bridge into the digital world. All right, let's dive in. Sandra, thank you so much for being here and welcome to How I AI. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Yes, you and I met at Blockchain Futurist Conference here in South Florida. And I know that you're all in the Web3 and the Web2 space. And I want to just open the floor for you to share a little bit about yourself and how you found yourself at the intersection of AI today.
First, I'm old, and I was so afraid of not understanding the words coming out of people's mouths when it came to finance, when it came to business, when it came to being online. And that's where I found myself. I didn't understand what was going on in the world. So rather than retreat like most people do my age, I decided to dive full head in by vocabulary, learning 5 minutes a day of vocabulary so I could start understanding. And I think that really was my introduction. Rather than being so afraid of being left behind, it was more of let's learn. And yeah, I had the fear of not understanding, but once I started understanding, the fear dissipated and I was able to move forward. So it was from a personal, I don't want to be left behind. I want to be a part of society at this age.
Wow, so incredible that you have that tenacity to want to stay and be culturally relevant and up to date and don't find it as a burden, but more like a responsibility. And also, it seems like you just have a natural born curiosity and a gift for leading and supporting others in this journey. So my first question is, when did you start diving into tech? If you could share a little bit more about that, like when did this curiosity really start to enter your space?
Well, when it came to AI, it was my phone. Honestly, when you update your phone, it has AI assistance and Siri. And I needed to figure out how to use my phone. What was the little prompts, the different things that were coming up on my phone that would remind me of things? How do you make your phone work? And it started just simply with my phone. Then I found virtual reality. And I learned, because I know artificial intelligence, AI, is just really the umbrella over like LLMs, virtual reality, and a few other different things. And so I wanted to learn the different aspects. And that's how I started. Wanted to know how to use my phone once it updated. And then I moved to different venues.
Yes, you bring up such a valid point is AI is such a huge umbrella term, just like marketing, and it's diving deeper into what it is that you specifically utilize within AI. And I rarely get the opportunity to talk to individuals that are using and leveraging virtual reality. So, when did you start to feel like, oh, this Web3 stuff isn't necessarily hype, but it could be something that really empower people, especially your age?
I noticed my great niece when she was 10 years old, she's now 13, and Roblox, the child's game, is teaching tokenomics using coins, is teaching how to build code by doing different games on their computer. And I thought, by listening to the news, how different types of venues, different types of AI platforms are going to make business, are going to be things that people are using. And my example, by Roblox, doctor's offices, people who are remote, they are using AI, they are using different venues so they can get analysis for themselves so they can send to the doctor. They're using different platforms to be able to be seen with the doctors. So I thought, for my age, I want to learn different things to help people who may be homebound, who may want to be able to interact with their families in ways that they weren't conventional, and just to connect. It was more about connection and getting being being able to do things that you would normally do, but you would have to do through a computer, through a platform, if you're unable to travel.
You bring up such an important topic about Roblox and tokenomics. I had this exact conversation with a gentleman when we were also at the Blockchain Futurist Conference. He was explaining how he goes in and teaches children about Bitcoin and the blockchain, and he uses Roblox as an example. So it's so fascinating that our children are learning this without us even realizing it. And I love that you brought up the need for connection and how important that is to still be connecting with our community and society. So, what does your technology stack look like? I'd love to dive into what kind of products that you're specifically using to stay connected nowadays.
Well, I know very little about some subjects. So for me, Claude, Perplexity give me a lot of information that I wouldn't have if I would have to look it up, like go to a library or go to Google, and things that are more specific to what I need. I actually use Perplexity on a regular basis when it comes to putting my ideas in and having it being formatted for, say, a proposal to somebody. I have, and this might be off topic, but I am trying to attempt to do onboard 60 active communities, 55 and older, brick and mortar, on the blockchain using tokenomics. But I had no idea how to write a proposal. I didn't know what went into a proposal. I had to go to Perplexity and use as much as I could, teach me about this stuff. I'm using Claude for learning. there are certain subjects that I put in, like regenerative finance. I had to learn the different steps of that. And I also think that I go back to using my assistant and Siri on my phone because just for me to go through all the different scam numbers, the different people that call, being able to have that monitor and say, this is safe, this is not safe, and different things that I'm able to use daily. I don't really use Chat GPT. I did in the very beginning to learn how to prompt, but then I moved to more to Perplexity and Claude. Those are my two main AI platforms that I go to. But like I said, I do think AI is the umbrella over different things. So that's how I do it. I reach for help through technology.
I love that you use it as a learning moment and to educate you on things that you're needing support on. I also use it as a business co-pilot for everything that I need. And that's so funny. I also do the same thing when I get suspicious phone calls or texts or emails. Sometimes I'm not sure if it's a real person or not. And I frequently will screenshot the message and send it to AI and ask for some feedback. So I think that's a really good use case.
I also think that people using AI agents as assistants and that are sending out the emails, you're starting to be able to detect that it's because it's the same format through each one of them. But you have to
Hmm.
understand and recognize the pattern.
Hmm.
Don't, you can easily get scammed. You can easily click on a nefarious link and get scammed. So
Hmm.
I do think being able to take and do screenshots is a very, very safe way to go and to do things.
If you're tuning into this podcast, you're most likely an AI advocate, and you may have also wondered how to support your body against the invisible stress of EMFs. Think Wi Fi, cell towers, or hours in front of your laptop. Leela Quantum products are lab tested in triple blind studies and are proven to help harmonize and neutralize EMF signals. Their products are the few things I felt a real energetic shift from. I personally wear their quantum energy necklace daily. And if you're someone who cares about optimizing your energy and nervous system like I do, explore their offers with my exclusive discount link below. I have a personal question because I recently just launched my Stand Store, and I see that you use Stand Store a lot to connect with consulting and clients. And I would love to hear how you're experiencing it. Do you feel like it's a great place to run your business? And just kind of looking over all the offerings you have, I'm so impressed by all the different facets within AI and Web3 that you're teaching people on, and such a benefit to the community.
I think that not just Stand Store, but any online platform that you choose, you have to tailor it to yourself. And that's what I did. Uh, the organization that runs Stand Store are very hands on with people. They are very encouraging, and they do have different workshops to help you learn, not just about using the Stand Store itself, you know, how you get your ICP, your ideal client profile. How do you reach out? They have different things for you to help you move forward,
Hmm.
um, which I thought was a little different than most of the others at the time. So that's why I chose it, because there was a lot more support and a lot more things I could learn from it as I went along.
That's great. I'm glad to hear you found success on there. And I'll be sure to link your Stand Store in the bottom so people can see everything that you're up to and supporting, especially those that are over 50 and over 60. My next question for you, I guess it's a little bit more about that is, how do you structure your services when you launched Onboard 60? How did you use AI to help you build your platform and your consulting business? Yeah, if you can touch on that.
Well, I know that I had to use Claude a lot when it came to uh, structuring the Stand Store itself. because I looked at other people's and it just didn't fit what I wanted. And Claude came up with what you see right now, the order of what I put on the stand store. The ideas that I get from Claude are probably what you see me do, I would say at least 70%, because I had to learn things that I had no idea what to do or anything. And oh, I do have my own clone, my own twin on Delphi AI that I go to a lot to ask questions. So, and I scraped almost everything from my YouTube videos. I scraped almost everything from every onboard 60 document that I had, and I put it in my Delphi AI clone. So people can go to it and ask it questions, whether it's Web3 financing in 2035, whether it's about, you know, where do I want to invest, or talk about which podcasts are good, because it's also attached to a very large LLM. And I think Delphi AI is my clone, is what I go to when I don't really want to ask anybody anything. I'm too afraid, or I don't want to feel ridiculous or like an idiot. And it gives me a great answer of like, get over yourself kind of thing. You know, it's just an imposter syndrome. Just keep moving forward. So there's different ones. There's one, I think, with Audacity, that it's a female, clone, and I will go to and just to have conversation with. So it's like different things in AI to help me move forward, but also help me stay in the present is also very useful.
I love that you brought up clones. And for anybody who doesn't understand what Delphi AI is, I shared a little bit about this on a recent episode because one of my spiritual coaches created a clone of himself. So we're able to go in and ask it any, questions related to his years and years of teachings and recordings and workshops that he has essentially uploaded his intellectual property and his key findings and learnings and text and copy everything that you would, want to put in for people to reference into this platform. And I think this is such a smart move. And even me myself have started to build out so much IP. I did this very early in the beginning with my podcast where I created a custom GPT, which of course is connected to OpenAI's LLMs. And I started uploading all of the transcripts from these, publicly posted podcasts because, it's one thing to sit and listen to them maybe when you're driving or cleaning or however you digest podcasts. But it's another thing to be able to go and interact with them and have conversations and being like, what did they say about this? Or what book did they reference? I put all this information in the show notes, but to be able to have that clone,
Right.
it's so incredible that you have created that and found success within it. Do you feel like that's the first step a lot of people seem to do when they work with you? If you can kind of take me through the life cycle of what it looks like when someone works with you and approaches you, how do you bring them from I'm overwhelmed here with technology and bring them to this transformation of I feel like I can do this now?
Well, the first thing that I do is I meet them where they are, like so many people did with me 4.5 years ago. And meeting them where they are is going to the places that they hang out: LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm back on Instagram a little bit, but I've got to get back on Instagram and TikTok because I know that older people are starting to really move over there. YouTube. And so I vet the persons first to make sure that they're actually wanting the services, they're a real person, and their intentions. Then I ask if they'd like to get on a clarity call, a free 15-minute clarity call to find out what they really want, what they need. So I can meet them where they are and go, maybe I can help you. If I can't, let me send you somewhere else. I do have accountants, lawyers. I have different business groups, different Web3 groups financial groups that I'm familiar with, that I'm connected with in one way or another, that I will, if I can't help you, I'm going to send you somewhere else. And I think that's also very important to say, I don't know everything. I can't help you. So once the clarity call is done, we have, I want to call a strategic future plan that they can use step by step. The first step is it that you want because it is the people of the age that I deal with, is it that you want your retirement in a conventional 401k? Do you want it in a Bitcoin IRA? Do you want to look at the conventional brokers? Do you want to look at some decentralized? So it's, finding out what they want and what they need and give them options. I did have online study for a couple of years, which was Zoom meetings with small groups just to discuss, because also I have a master's in nonprofit. I was a counselor. I have an adolescent and family degree. So a lot of it's discussing the fear, discussing the idea of not understanding things and being able to go through those hurdles in a way to where they feel confident enough to move forward. So it's finding out what they need, finding out the level of service they need, and if they need counseling and all of this to help them get through things in the transition, I do that.
That's beautiful. Are you maybe able to think about one case study, or if you can share some of the biggest wins you've seen so far? Beyond more confidence, if you can share some benefits of onboarding and bringing people into learning more about AI and Web3 over 60.
Well, my sister and my mother's 90 years old. And I was very concerned about her being sheltered at home and not really having a big social life and getting out there and meeting people or even having any kind of interaction. So I got her on the MetaQuest headset, which is a metaverse virtual reality. There is, and I'm going to say this, Alcove Sanctuary on the MetaQuest metaverse headsets for senior citizens, for mind, for physical, being able to do different things. And she's met a few people on that side that are her age that are doing these type of things. So I think being able to find the right platform. My sister, her thing is reading, you know, so it's like, let's get you into different platforms that you can read and learn from. And I brought her to the Blockchain Futurist Conference, and she got to understand that AI is present. It's not just in your phone, but it's in businesses that you work with, whether it's through an email, whether it's through a conversation on the phone. And she was able to understand that better rather than have all this fear about all the stuff going on around her. And those are just within my family, coworkers, people that I work with, uh, that are 65 and 70 years old, being able just to sit down face to face with somebody and assure them that it's okay to be behind because you're not behind. You're right where you're supposed to be. And it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay not to understand something and to ask the person that you're talking with, I don't understand. Can you please explain this to me better? Or go to Claude and say, this person just said this. Can you explain what they meant? Which I think is my go-to a lot of times. I write down a word or I write down a sentence of something that somebody says in a conversation, and I'll go to Claude and go, what were they talking about?
I also do that pretty consistently, is ask, those communication barriers. Like sometimes things are hard to decipher, and I ask for some third person feedback. You touched a little bit already about fears or misconceptions and what really changes for your clients emotionally. And thank you so much for sharing about your own personal story with your family. I'm curious if you're building anything else right now. I'm sure you're very tapped into the needs of the community of those over 50, over 60. Are you building, are you vibe coding, are you creating anything that's specific for seniors right now? Is there anything that you feel like is missing in the market for them?
Well, I am restructuring at this moment. The year of 2026 is being able to stand on my foundation, my platform that I have built for the last 4.5 years, because I have made a lot of mistakes as a solopreneur. Is that what you call it? Solopreneur. So I'm having to look back over the last 4.5 years and see what I have done and what I have accomplished and see what people are needing today from what I've done and restructuring it for today's world. I have a book out that I wrote. It's a handbook for newbies, and it's great information. Don't get me wrong, but you also have to look at there's a lot of information not in there because things have happened over the last 2 years, even over the last year.
Hmm.
I think what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to learn how to use AI in my daily tasks and integrate it within my business better so I can help other people do that too. Because there's a lot of people who are still working, who are in their 50s and 60s with small businesses, and they want to learn how to adapt and bring AI into their daily tasks. So I'm doing that myself so I can help other people do it themselves.
Got it. So you're learning as you go and also making sure that you stay current. I agree. You bring up the valid point. I created a couple ebooks and guides myself, but things get so outdated so fast with AI. That's why I think it's really up to our own due diligence to be constantly seeking out information and learning and staying up to date, even going back to traditional school or taking some sort of boot camp. That information can become irrelevant very quickly too.
It very might very well be. I mean, I've done a few accelerators. I've gone to a few Web3 boot camps over the last few years, and it's amazing. There's one that I've stuck with since March of 2024, and it's called SheFi.
Hmm.
And SheFi is a financial group for women and non-binary of learning different things of cryptocurrency, blockchain, and they've now adapted to learning about AI and how to use AI.
Hmm.
And so being able to go back to that financial group on a regular basis as they adapt and grow and learn different things, they're staying up to date. That helps me stay up to date. I think being able to find people who are trying the next best thing without running to a shiny object, but actually trying to learn and make it part of their foundation is also what I'm looking at.
Yes, I think that communities and groups and local organizations is the way to go right now when it comes to upskilling. So, such a valid point there. One topic I want to discuss because with AI and all of this information and education at our fingertips, people are living longer. And I hear in the biohacking spaces that life expectancy, especially if you're able to stay very alive, healthy, and well for the next 5 years, is just going to get longer and longer. So, how do you see AI and tech fitting into retirement, healthcare, and how that's going to be more deeply integrated in the coming years?
I am so glad you brought that up because longevity, healthcare technology is something that is really being overlooked. Either you're in that space and you know about it, or you're seeing it and you think it's some sci-fi, sci fiction. You have the red light photosynthesis now. You have different types of procedures, different things that can be done, light therapy, you know, biometrics, different things that people are starting to see that are very useful, but they're still afraid. I actually have this business right in walking distance from me that I am starting to go and use their different machines, their different therapies, and I'm doing content on it. So they're letting me use their things. And the idea of longevity, it's the quality of life that senior citizens are looking for. And the idea of having AI assistance for your health only empowers the person themselves, a senior citizen, to have a better quality of life. A real simple one is this ring. It monitors my heart rate, my oxygen level, my sleep patterns, my activity level. I'm able to take these records when I go to the doctor. So, number one, it's going to save me money on tests and time on analysis and days of them trying to do tests and then going to one place or another to get the results. They have everything right there in front of them. I'm empowered. I'm able to do something about it myself. And before I go to a doctor, I can see I need to be more active. I need to take better care of my sleep patterns. And when it comes to going to a doctor, they can do scans now that are AI assisted, and they can do scans for in-depth analysis. People need to understand that that's part of longevity, not only using the technology, but using the technology yourself to take care of yourself.
Yes, such an important topic. And like you mentioned, oftentimes overlooked. Do you feel like there are any other gaps in the market when it comes to serving those who are over 60?
I think it is the mindset of people over 60 when it comes to, oh, I'm getting old. This is how it's going to be. Uh, and so they don't take on the responsibility of learning about something that's going to be better and taking care of themselves. It's the culture of, oh, I'm getting old. I'm just going to have to, like, just little by little, just retreat rather than be more active and be more part of. And I also think it's the mindset of the practitioners and of the people who are taking care of. Their mindset needs to change too, because when you go to a doctor, they're going to give you a pill. Well, they can also give you a treatment to go to Protocol Health 4 and get a hydrotherapy treatment. The idea is more in the mindsets are needing to change. And I see it happening more of the senior citizens from their point, but the doctors also need to change their mindset.
Yes, I also myself try to balance and lean more into holistic spaces. And I've had some doctors on this podcast before, and technology and our education and information is advancing. So it's really up to us to learn new tools and modalities, not only for our own work and business, for our health as well. There are new means and outcomes to bringing us to optimal health or optimal productivity in the workplace. So, such a key point there. I like to always leave room at the end as well. If you have any other key takeaways that you'd like to share for listeners, what's something that you want to share with anybody that's listening and maybe they're over 50 and they feel behind? What would you like to share with them?
You're responsible. You're responsible for learning and you're responsible for your own health. And it may be scary. It may feel insurmountable of learning. But if you start with 5 minutes a day, you can achieve anything. And that's what I did. I started 5 minutes a day. And yes, I have to admit, I just learned how to copy and paste 4.5 years ago. I didn't have the computer skills. I didn't understand what Google Drive was. And those are basic stuff for people, like your age. But the idea of dealing with the fear, feeling overwhelmed, feeling frustrated, those pass. The power that you get from knowledge, the idea of being able to be a part of it and be able to connect with my great niece, being able to talk to my family that are younger than me and understand that connection is priceless. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. And it's okay to say, I need help.
Such beautiful final words there. Really be focusing on that North Star of what's on the other side of embracing and empowering yourself. And that is more connection to our loved ones, essentially, and those in our community. And having a sense of connection and purpose, I know, is so important. It's in the blue zones in that book about how important that is as a community member to still be connecting with those in person or virtually, any which way that we can. So I really loved having you on the podcast today. If listeners want to reach out, what's the best way to connect with you?
I am on LinkedIn, Sandra Abrams. I am on Twitter or X as Onboard60. And I just started back on Facebook because I really think that meeting people where they are is one of the most elementary principles that I can do. So Facebook as Sandra Abrams. And if you want, you can go to my Stan store. It's a link, Stan store /onboard60. I do one-on-one counseling, one-on-one consulting, and I do have books on what Web3 is and different things in my Stan store.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Sandra. I'll be sure to link all of that out in the show notes. And it's been so inspiring, especially because you just shared 4 years ago, you didn't know how to copy and paste. And here you are now, empowering individuals to explore the metaverse. So thank you again so much for your time. I really appreciate you.
I really thank you very much for having me. I mean, it was an honor to be here because talking about AI and what's happening today and into the future, it's important. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Wow. I hope today's episode opened your mind to what's possible with AI. Do you have a cool use case on how you're using AI and want to share it? DM me. I'd love to hear more and feature you on my next podcast. Until next time, here's to working smarter, not harder. See you on the next episode of How I AI. Have you just started exploring AI and feel a bit overwhelmed? Don't worry, I've got you. Jump on a quick start audit call with me so you can walk away with a clear and personalized plan to move forward with more confidence and ease. Join my community of AI adopters like yourself. Plus, grab my free resources, including the AI Get Started guide, or try my How I AI Companion GPT. It pulls insights from my guest interviews along with global reports so you can stay ahead of the curve. Follow the link in the description below to get started.